Welcome to Bloodbath and Beyond. Today we review slashers. 6 contestants, 3 slashers, no prisoners.
Written and directed by Maurice Devereaux, starring Sarah Joslyn Crowder, Tony Curtis Blondell, and Neil Napier. Slashers is about Japan's #1 extreme reality show. 6 contestants are chosen out of thousands to have a chance at millions of dollars. All they have to do is survive. So what did we like?
I'm kicking this off with the cinematography because, damn it, this film definitely looked like a game show. I loved that it was just a steady cam the whole time. And they did such a great job editing it that it looked like it was one continuous shot. There was the subtle flashes of black that you could tell they were switching up the camera and doing a different angle. But overall, I'd say 90% of this film, it was just one long take.
This was a very ambitious take, especially considering that it is a low-budget movie. You don't really see this. This is something that makes or breaks a film. Now, I can't necessarily say that this made the film, but it was very, very impressive.
I really enjoyed the variety of sets we got in this film. It was clear that most of them were a paintball arena, which actually added to it because it was as if it was a full-blown set with tons of obstacles for the killer to run around and chase the contestants.
And when they caught the contestants, the gore was fucking dope. It wasn't crazy good, but they had lots of blood all over the place. People die.
And to go along with the great cinematography, they really utilized the deaths with the camera angles because they would turn away from the victim for a second and come back and just start tearing up the body. So it's clear that they swapped out the actor for a practical prosthetic.
And no good slasher flick would be complete without 3 pretty sweet slashers. My personal favorite is probably gonna go out to Chainsaw Charlie. I thought he was hilarious. The Preacher had a cool look, but Dr. Ripper, that guy was just crazy. I thought it was a different take on taking the Japanese game show culture of how wild and crazy their game shows are and applying a horror element to it. Plus it was nice to see that they poked fun of the genre, especially with the soundtrack. There was moments where the music is going and they're building up that tension like you see in horror films, but they break the fourth wall to be this is the part where we're gonna get killed. So they know what's going on. They understand the genre.
So what didn't we like?
Well, the concept of the film was decent, and we don't see it that much. I really couldn't get into the story because the story, all the dialogue was so shitty, and the actors that were delivering all of the lines were terrible.
Cool it, guys. We have enough enemies outside without more inside, all right?
This is not a well-acted film, nor is any line of dialogue in this movie even remotely believable. Everyone has their stereotypes and they all have their background stories that's just some monologue for each character in the movie, and it's just excruciating to watch these people try and struggle with their lines, all while trying to maintain a long take, and it's just really hard to watch.
You are consenting to my execution by giving your support to this show and to their advertisers. You are the root of the problem.
There's so many times where I'm just watching Megan's character and it looks like she's constipated as she's trying to push a tear out of her eye socket. It's not believable at all.
I'm a fucking joke.
For how great the cinematography was in this film, it also was its downfall. Because throughout the entire film, we get no breaks. It was no different camera angles to keep my attention. So it just felt boring.
I get that we're just focusing on one character, the lead Megan. It would be nice to see what's going on with the other characters when they break off, because then you're building tension and developing characters as a whole, not just as one standalone character. And it's gonna draw you in to care about them when they die.
And this is part of the reason why I hated the acting, because they were forced to tell their stories when they had the screen time, so they all had to have monologues because they were essentially all coupled off for the entire movie.
Now it's time for our final thoughts and ratings.
Slashers is definitely for a specific audience. It's gonna be something that you're either gonna love or you're gonna hate. The delivery may not have been the best, but I did like the camera work in the fact that it was all a steady cam. It was a constant long take. We had sweet practical effects, and I really did like the slashers themselves. I thought they were cool, and they had some sweet one-liners, which was entertaining for me. Though the acting is really what brings this film down, and it's really bad acting. But it's still a fun watch, and I think people should really check it out. And with that being said, I'm gonna give this 3.5 love rooms out of 5.
This is not the best movie, but it is a decent movie. I have watched it probably 50 times in my life, and it's nice to go back and watch it again 15 years later. It was better off a memory. It was a very cool concept, and it was neat to see the long takes the whole time, but that was the exact same thing that ruined this movie because it just seemed boring, and all of the monologues that came with these long takes were just painful to watch. The acting sucks in this movie. You might like it because of that. So I'm gonna give this 2 awkward slasherettes out of 5.
After seeing the opening sequence of this film, I thought we were in for a cult classic. After how much Jay and John talked about this, I thought it was gonna be great. Unfortunately, I was let down. This movie had great production value, but the overall story and the acting just wasn't there. I think this movie could have benefited from having multiple camera angles. I mean, this was a TV show. TV shows have multiple cameras all the time, even hidden cameras. You can get very creative. You don't need to, just because you have one camera, it doesn't mean you have to only have one camera in the film. I also feel like this film was just a cheap knockoff of Arnold Schwarzenegger's The Running Man. With all that said, I'm gonna have to give this 2.5 beefcakes out of 5.
Cheesecake to beefcake. Fuck you.
As always, thank you for watching. Like this video and comment below with your thoughts on slashers. And if you haven't seen it and you want to check it out, make sure you click one of the links in the description and buy it on Amazon and enjoy. Enjoy this gem of a film. Oh, and make sure you subscribe to the channel to stay updated with everything Bloodbath and beyond.